Hey, this is Bon, and I'm just doing a quick little watch along of this trailer or whatever you want to call this for Starfield. This is a game I am extremely excited for and plan on covering quite a bit as its release date approaches and after the game comes out. If you follow me right now, you know I'm head deep in Mass Effect, and this game seems like it's the closest thing we're going to get to a Mass Effect for years. And I love Fallout games and most Bethesda games in general. So let's watch this. I'll stop during poignant moments that I feel like I have some commentary for. And there is even an extremely small snippet of in game something, probably not gameplay, but at least something worth watching.
It's a level of immersion that we really focus on. You're not just playing a game, but you're living in this world, in this universe.
It's a giant open world for the player to do what they want.
You feel like you've had an impact in the world. You really feel like you're there.
There's certain, types of entertainment where you're just experiencing it.
It's a level of immersion that we really focus on. You're not just playing a game, but you're living in this world, in this universe.
It's a giant open world for the player to do what they want.
You feel like you've had an impact in the world. You really feel like you're there.
There's certain, types of entertainment where you're just experiencing it. You're taking in what the creator wants you to see, and they draw that dotted line between this happens, go here, do this. The more that we can put you in the situation where you're going to decide. That's what makes video games the best form of entertainment that they are.
Okay, so I'll stop there, and I will acknowledge that I like Todd Howard. He's made some of my favorite games ever. I love the Fallout games. I really like Fallout 4, even though I know that's not the most popular position in the world. And I recognize its downfalls and faults. So they're sitting here talking about like, oh yeah, sometimes you just experience the game that they want to show you. And obviously they're going down this path of like, but with our game, it's going to be a whole new experience. Like I am equally skeptical, as I'm sure most people are who are going to watch this. But it is, Fallout 3, Fallout 4 even, does a good job of a bunch of branching storylines and things that come around. You do something one way in one place, it affects how things work out in another. So I'm willing to be positive about what this could be. I'm also willing to be realistic that it may not be everything they say it is. I also want to note that if this soundtrack is a kind of a direction or an idea of the general feel of the soundtrack that's going to be in the game entirely, then I am on board. This sounds great.
We don't just make RPGs, like we make simulations, and that leads to a lot of just crazy stuff that can happen and things you don't expect.
Yeah, we always have those big fights like, what if combat breaks out right now? Right? You have to handle that, right? Because it could. You can't control it. The only thing you control is that the game has to account for it somehow.
We embrace the chaos, let it play out, and usually it's pretty fun.
A lot of us have been doing this for a long time together. And it's nice with Starfield to go back to some things we didn't do, the backgrounds, the traits, the defining your character, all of those stats. And I think there's so many games now that do those things that people are ready for something that does a lot of the things that, older hardcore RPGs, some that we used to do, doing those again in a new way.
We've always allowed the player to, to create really interesting, unique characters. This game, we've definitely severely leveled up. The tech is based on scanning of real-world models, similar to the photogrammetry we do in our landscapes. We're kind of applying the same thing to our people as well, because it's not just the appearance of your player and all that, but we want all the personal interactions of NPCs, other characters in the game to be as impactful as possible. And for that, you have to believe these are real people. You're a real person interacting with real people.
One of the big choices is which part of the game world am I going to engage in? We always make a bunch of different groups that represent some of the major factions in every game. And in this one, we've got the United Colonies that represents the future Space Republic idealized. You also have the Freestar Collective, which is the space Western fantasy, people that are out there on the frontier. We've got Ryujin Industry.
That last shot looks a lot like Anthem concept art from back in the day. Just throwing that out there.
Which represents corporate life. I think it has one of the best starts of any of the factions.
Yeah,
we've done
it's a
in
mega
in long
corp, and
time.
you get hired, right? Like
Yeah,
that you would do, right?
We'll play for our job. We'll
Right.
see if you cut the mustard.
Right.
Yeah, I love approaching it that way where, okay, what makes the world
And that right there has some hardcore cyberpunk vibes. And I get a feeling that was part of the reference.
feel whole? What are the groups that would make it feel whole and believable? And then how does the player interact with them? You know, what we're doing with the pirates, the Crimson Fleet as well. They're not just this foe. Let the player join them. What does that mean?
The cool thing about Crimson Fleet, you know, what if you're a good person and you want to be a good player and you don't want to play as a bad guy? You can side with the pirates or you can report back your superiors and be like basically space cop type of thing. So let you be a good person and still play with the bad guys. I think that's really cool too.
It seems like no matter what story we write, the one the players tell themselves is the one that they think about and love the most, and the companions.
Hello, Captain. How may I be of assistance?
So something we really
So that's what I was referencing before, is that this appears to be in-game. Now, it's likely like an in-game cinematic, or I assume this isn't, from actual gameplay footage on a Series X or something, but it is nice to see an actual model instead of just concept art.
leaned into on this game, how those other characters felt about you.
That's probably my favorite part. Like when you're exploring and then your companion makes some comment off the cuff about something that you're checking out or something that just happened.
So that's a cool detail. So if you're a Mass Effect fan, that will sound very familiar, where it sounds like the companions that you have, probably not just that robot, I'm sure other people as well, will be able to kind of make off the cuff comments about things that are going on, places that you are, and things like that. And then what they mentioned before is thinking about the idea that it sounds like they're going to go into, you're going to pick a background and a bunch of stuff about your character that people will react to, and hopefully even in the kind of ambient dialogue that comes up, if you're from a certain background and you see a certain thing or you're at a certain place, that may have your companions react a certain way or say certain things.
It just feels so perfect for immersion. It's so believable. You think it's a real person.
So, we knew we wanted to do some kind of persuasion minigame thing.
Yeah, we sat down and it was funny. We didn't start with, let's do an evolution of, let's look back at the old Oblivion system, but there are a couple of beats there. You have to think about, what's my risk here, right? Which one do I want to choose? We didn't want it to be a system where there was definitely the right thing to say.
It feels like you're having a conversation where you're actually trying to persuade somebody of something.
So it sounds like they're kind of trying to stay away from like a Mass Effect, like Paragon or Renegade system with their dialogue and with your interactions with NPCs. They're kind of portraying it like this is like a new thing for them. It really isn't. If you've played the previous Bethesda games, you'll know that, like, based on your stats and based on some of your actions, people will react to you in different ways. If you have certain stats, you can threaten people into doing different things. There's some options in dialogue that are only available if you are high level in certain stats. And I think there's some that are only available if you're a low enough level in other stats. So I suspect this is just an evolution of that system from Fallout, but we'll have to wait and see.
So it's actually, I think it's, as far as new systems in dialogue, I think it's definitely one of the most successful ones that we've had.
Yeah. I think when we knew we were making a game about space, you ask yourself certain questions, and that question is, what is out there? And so as a game, we have romance, adventure, mystery, but I think with Starfield, there's this other layer of, the cosmos and the universe and what is out there
At the end of it, we want the players to have told their own journey, but then look back at it and we're asking the big questions.
So one thing I'll just observe, I'm getting the feeling that this is not going to be an Alien game. I think that at least, a question I've had this whole time is, is this recently, is this like, have humans just in the last 50 to 100 years begun space flight? Is this hundreds of years down the line? Have we found other species, things like that? And it seems like the answer is, well, a lot of these colonies and stuff seem to be pretty established. So I'm assuming that humans have been spaceflight status for a long time. But at least so far, they haven't insinuated that there's going to be aliens in this game that you're interacting with like casually. Now, is there a good chance that the culmination of the game or a part of the story is discovering like an alien species or something like that? I mean, that seems very likely and very possible. But at least from what they're showing so far, even just in concept art, that doesn't seem to be a thing.
Why are we all here? Where is it leading? And what's next for humanity?
All right, and that looks like it's basically the end of the video, and so you can check out that website. They do send emails with these kind of videos. They tend to actually send these. You tend to get noticed via the email. Notice that these videos are dropping, and you can kind of watch them before they get posted everywhere. This one in particular, I saw on Twitter before I got the email. So it's worth checking that out. I wouldn't be surprised if they do any kind of betas or previews, if being part of this website probably won't hurt. So if you're interested there, check it out. I'm extremely hyped for Starfield. I've kind of gone through the whole ups and downs of like, Fallout 76 was kind of a mess, and even Fallout 4 was a little disappointing, at least for some people. And can we trust, is it okay to get hyped in 2022 because we've been let down so many times? And now I've kind of gotten to the point of whatever, we only live once, and this game seems really cool and exciting, and I'm just gonna let myself be hyped and excited because the last couple of years have sucked, and I just want to be excited about something, and I don't want to be ashamed about it. So that's where I'm at. So as more information comes out about Starfield, I'm sure we're going to get a lot over the next few months. Since the game comes out at the end of the year, I will be covering it. And then once it comes out, I would love to do some streams, do some maybe guides, and likely a review of some type, as well as talk about it on my podcast, The EchoCast. So check that out on all podcast providers. You can find me anywhere on the internet as Bond Diesel in some capacity, specifically on Twitch and Twitter as at Bond Diesel. And that's kind of all I have for this one. So until next time.
Missing someone.